And cool.
The let's see, this morning I was thinking about how the most important thing in our lives is being in community. So with being in community, obviously that was divine intervention. How else would we perpetuate the species unless we wanted to be in community? But how ironic that that's the thing that's taken away from us the most in this pandemic is this sense of community. I mean, we're really only communal thread is knowing that we're all going through it together, right? And how strange will it feel when we can actually just like go to a restaurant without a mask, or go to the grocery store without a mask, or see each other smile, or notice each other's like entire facial expressions. But it reminded me of this research that I did. I used to have a radio show, and we did an entire show on the power of touch. And I had an expert on the show, well, actually a couple of them. One was talking about B.F. Skinner's original research with the power of touch, which wasn't very nice in the early 1900s. So they ripped baby monkeys' mothers away from them and instead created these two new monkeys. So one monkey was this really soft, sort of warm monkey, and this other monkey was a like wiry monkey, but it had food. So the soft one had no food, it was just comfortable. And the other monkey had wire, and it was had the food. And monkeys would literally, baby monkeys would literally let themselves nearly starve to death because they were more apt to go to the monkey that was soft than the wire monkey that had food. So this just sort of is setting up on the power of touch. So I had another expert on the show that was talking about research with oxytocin, and oxytocin is the neurotransmitter. Good morning, Julia. The neurotransmitter that bonds us to each other. It's the love and trust neurochemical. So it's one that happens when mothers are nursing their babies, or that we just touch each other for more than 20 seconds. People think a lot of times that their pets give them oxytocin, but actually it's not very much. We really need it with human contact, which again is divine intervention, right? If we got oxytocin from our pets, we just have more dogs. If we get oxytocin from each other, we might actually perpetuate the species. So there's some divine intervention in there, of course. But he did this research on prairie voles, and which are like groundhogs or whatever, and found that there was this one group of prairie voles that was very, very monogamous, and found out that they had kind of a lot of oxytocin in their system. Then he found this other group that were polygamists, or not pair bonding group of prairie voles, and found out that they had very little oxytocin. So he wanted to find out what would happen if he took the oxytocin away from one group and gave oxytocin to the other group. So he did an oxytocin blocker on the monogamous, and they instantly became polygamous. And then the reverse. Okay, so the moment that he began to like squirt, because oxytocin they apply it by squirting a spray up the nose, those prairie voles instantly became monogamous. So there were a couple of interesting things that I found from this research. Number one, that a lot of times that we think that we're so smart that everything is controlled up here in our prefrontal cortex, and that we're making all of these decisions based on like being a higher order. And really our neurochemicals are big sort of directors in the way that we move through our life. But also that it would make sense. And one thing, I was reading this article that STDs are on the rise during COVID. And I think that there is a correlation between that. If people aren't getting touched enough, if not enough people are getting shots of oxytocin, and of course people are that are living together, but if a lot of single people aren't getting these shots of oxytocin that cause us to pair bond, it would make sense that one would go venturing out in different directions, and that it's actually not so much that, you know, single people in America or in the world are, you know, these horn dogs that are out of control, but maybe that their neurochemical systems aren't balanced enough to like create a sense of needing to pair bond. That's my correlation between that. I mean, that's just, but there's lots of things that you can notice in your life as you go through your day. Notice if like Tucker Carlson was accusing Joe Biden and Joe Biden of having a sham of a relationship, and that their sort of affection for each other was disingenuous. And maybe Tucker Carlson just needs a hug. So just having a little more compassion for the lack of touch that's going on in our society right now, and maybe even giving a little nice, a little more, what do you call it? Kindness toward other people, based on the fact that a lot of people aren't getting a lot of touch right now. So close down your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. And just notice your breath. Notice if it's long or short. Notice if it's smooth or choppy. Notice if it's fast or slow. Just notice all of that. Don't change one single thing. Let all that just happen. Notice its edges. Where does it start and where does it end? Notice the expression on your face, your connection to your personality and your ego. Just start by this morning by noticing it. And then begin to deepen your breath. Filling up all the way down to the pelvic bowl. Fill up the belly and the ribs and the chest and the shoulders with breath. And on the exhale, grow taller and allow the shoulder blades to melt down the back. Inhale the ribs in 360 degrees. And exhale, grow even taller, reach the crown of the head toward the sky. Keep this long spine and begin to rub the palms of the hands together and bring them to stillness in a prayer position in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. We're going to start by chanting Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That's our vibration of the universe, followed by a blessing of peace for everyone. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Again, just like that. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale to chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just let that blessing of peace wash over you. This morning, our prop is either like a hand towel or a belt or a dog leash. So grab one of those as we move into our yin practice. So we'll clear off everything on our mat. I'm gonna switch our video up really fast. Let's see. I got such great sleep last night that I feel like I'm forgetting all my words. I guess worst things, right? I'm getting too good of sleep last night. Maybe I'll take another sip of coffee. So, and the only reason I never grab my dog leash on ones like this is because my dog thinks we're going for a walk and he gets really excited. So I'm just using a towel this morning, but come to line on your back and wrap that towel. We're gonna bend both knees originally to come to line on our back, almost like we're setting up for bridge pose. And then we'll straighten the right leg and like you're stomping on the ceiling with your foot. So just find as much bend in your knee as you initially need right now. I mean, my God, it's like 7:15 in the morning. So, you know, like our hamstrings might be calling our little names. But start by pulling down on whatever apparatus you have wrapped around the sole of your foot. And the reason I say to do that, we're not bringing it toward our nose, we're pulling straight down. And you should feel the femur bone connect into the hip socket. And just breathe through that for just a moment. See if you can let the glutes just relax. So if you're choked up on your strap, like closer to your foot, allow yourself to just kind of come down on the strap a little further. If it's short or if it's long enough, let your triceps rest on the earth. I couldn't find a belt this morning. So, but yeah, just let your triceps rest on the earth if you have a belt or a dog leash. And just breathe as you feel the connection of the femur. Iron out the sacrum onto the earth. And see if you can relax in both hips. This is really subtle, but it's creating like sort of repositioning of your femur into its socket and helping to let go of those muscles around the hip. So then, staying exactly in this position, begin to subtly move the toes to 10 o'clock and then move them to 2 o'clock. So you should begin to start to feel this kind of in the IT band and the outside of the hip, but just moving the toes only to 10 and 2. And if there's a particularly sticky spot, just finding yourself in stillness in that position. We all have little places that need more love than others. You can close down your eyes. Just make sure that your face and your neck and your jaw are all relaxed. All right, so then find stillness in your foot again. This is a really subtle move that we're about to do. So bring both sides of your strap or your towel into your left hand. So the opposite hand is your foot, and then barely like 6 inches to 8 inches, bring the right foot across the body. So your foot is still like you're stomping on the ceiling, but instead of stomping on the ceiling directly above you, you're now sort of stomping on the ceiling, I don't know, like 10 inches over to the side. And this should feel pretty freaking intense on your IT band. If not, you might come a little bit further. But the key here is that both hips are still on the earth. So we're not rolling into our side twist yet. We'll be doing that later. We're just stretching out the IT band. So we're going to be here for 4 breaths. So just find stillness and breathe. We're getting a lot into our legs this morning. You might find that your leg is straightening a little bit more, but try not to lock out the knee. Always keep a little bend in the knee. One more breath in this iteration. And then we'll come to center like we were before, where we're stomping on the ceiling with our foot. Keep the sacrum exactly where it is. So keep it ironed out onto the earth. Even if you have to exaggerate the movement by tilting the tailbone down to the earth, now we're going to pull that foot gently toward our face. So this is a deep hamstring stretch. With our sacrum ironed down, this should be really subtle. So unless you're incredibly flexible and can keep your tailbone down onto the earth and your foot toward your face, most of us, when we tilt our tailbone down to the earth, we can barely move our foot toward our face. And notice how that intensifies the stretch on the back of the hamstring. Relax in the arms. My towel is not long enough to bring my triceps down to the earth, but that's okay. It's no big deal. If you can bring your triceps down to the earth, that's great. Just relax in the arms is basically what I'm saying here. And breathe. Send breath to where you feel sensation. Again, these are two opposing movements. Your sacrum is ironed out on the earth as you're gently pulling that foot closer to your face. With each breath, see if you can find a little more room, or if your body is saying, oh my God, please no, then back out. Doesn't do us any favors to struggle in the shape. All right, so now we're gonna take both sides of our apparatus and put it in our right hand. And then bring our left hand on top of the left hip. This is just to remind it to ground down in its current position. You don't want to lift the left hip at all. And then begin to drop the right foot out to the right and open it up like a book. Now, if you can't drop it all the way to the floor, which most people can't, maybe Shayna can. Shayna has super open hips, but drop it out to the right. Keep the hand on the left hip to remind it to stay there. The left knee sometimes wants to come out to the left. That's totally okay. It's actually great to counterbalance and make sure that both hips are staying on the earth. Again, if you need to have like a block or an ottoman or whatever under that leg, that's cool. In this case, I have like the walls sort of holding me up, and it feels really great and perfect for where I need to be. So breathe. Long, slow, deep breaths. Relax both shoulders onto the earth. So there's no reason to be driving the struggle bus to like grip onto your strap. Just see if you can find a place of relaxation and breathe. Relax the face and the neck and the jaw. On every inhale, see if you can feel the pressure of the back side of the body against the earth as you feel both front and back sides of the torso. And on the exhale, just surrender, maybe even another little micromillimeter into the shape. Long, slow, deep, nourishing breaths. We're here for two more breaths. See if you can relax in the knee. On your next inhale, bring that leg back up to center and switch your strap or towel over to the left hand. We're going to scooch our hips about 3 inches over to the right. The reason we do this is it makes it easier for when we roll our onto our left side, that the hips stack more easily. So the right leg is coming across the left side of the body. The arms can come out to a T or cactus. And if it feels good to you, your gaze can come away from that foot. So here in the shape, there's a couple of subtleties that actually will increase the stretch for us. So keep both shoulder blades on the earth. So if your leg is too far over and it's compromising the upper body, find a block or an ottoman or something to place under that foot. So both shoulders stay on the earth. Now, extend the space between the top armpit and the top hip by rolling that hip away from you. So you're expanding the space in between the ribs, right? And breathe. So that should intensify the stretch in the gluteus maximus. You can also turn your face away from your foot. I'm not doing that so that you can hear my voice better, but if it feels good as a neck stretch, go ahead and turn your gaze away from your foot. And we're here for 3 more breaths, so just breathe here. See if you can completely relax in the upper body in these last few breaths. Maybe even find another micromillimeter to move into the shape. And then on your next inhale, come back up through center, release your towel or your strap, and keep the knees bent, but bring the feet wide onto your mat and just take a moment to windshield wiper from side to side, going even slower than you think you need to.
Nice.
Cool. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to set up my block so that I have support if I need it on this side. So I'm going to roll up my towel here a little bit. Bend both knees and bring both feet to the earth. And then we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So take your towel or your strap or your belt and wrap it around the sole of the left foot. And you're taking your left foot like you're stomping on the ceiling, making sure that the sacrum is ironed out onto the earth. And then gently pulling straight down onto your strap. And that will sort of, for lack of a better word, encourage your femur bone to go into the hip socket. And this is much more intense for me on this side. So again, if you're choked up on your strap, my towel is shorter, so I can't rest my triceps on the earth. But if you have a longer strap or dog leash or whatever, go ahead and place your triceps down on the earth. Regardless, just try to relax in the upper body. So, the strap is just to encourage this for us. Keep a slight bend in the knee. And breathe. Relax in the face. And then gently begin to tick-tock our foot, right? So just a subtle movement, just the toes are moving at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, going slowly. Just still like your feet or your foot is stomping on the ceiling, but now it's like you're just bringing that foot to 10 o'clock or the toes to 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And there might be a sticky spot that you find. I have a couple of them. So find stillness where you find that stickiness. And breathe. Long, slow, deep breaths. Sending breath to where you feel sensation. And we're here for just a couple more breaths. And then coming back to center, so your toes are like your foot is still like it's stomping on the floor, or I'm sorry, the ceiling. Your foot's like it's stomping on the ceiling, and we're gonna subtly move the entire leg about 6 inches. So you're still stomping on the ceiling, just now on the other side of the body. And breathe. So this is a stretch for your IT band. If moving your foot 8 to 10 inches or 6 to 8 inches isn't enough, just like move it a little more across the body. But the key here is to have both hips on the earth. So all the action is in the leg. The whole upper body and torso and pelvis are still completely in contact with the earth. You should feel this all the way down the side of the left leg in the IT band. And breathe. Long, slow, deep breaths. Keeping that slight bend in the knee. The sacrum stays lying on the earth, and relax in both sides. So a lot of times we'll try to grip on the right side in our gluteus when we're doing this. Let that go. This is all passive stretching. So relax in the upper body, relax in the face. The lips are together, but just barely, and the tongue is resting at the bottom of the mouth. One more breath in this shape. And then switch the apparatus to your left hand. We're going to bring our right hand to the top of the right hip just to keep it grounded. And then bring that left leg, open it up like a book, out to the side. Again, if your right knee begins to splay out, that's totally cool. It's just keeping both hips, both shoulders on the earth for you. All the action is here in that left leg. And breathe. Send breath to where you feel sensation. So if you need a block or an ottoman or whatever, step stool underneath your left leg, that's cool. Just breathe. Send breath to where you feel sensation. This is pretty sensation filled for me this morning. I feel a big old pull that I shouldn't say pull, but big old stretch that I needed on the inside of my left leg. Sending that breath to where you feel sensation. Relaxing in the upper body. We're here for 3 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, bring that foot back up through center. Switch the grip of your apparatus over to your right hand. Scooch the hips about 3 or 4 inches over to the left and bring the left foot across the right side of the body into that big stretch on the opposite side. So both shoulders remain on the earth. You can turn your gaze away from your foot if that feels good in your neck. Otherwise, just look straight up toward the sky. See if you can relax in this shape. If your foot isn't coming all the way to the ground, that's cool. Just find something that it can come to, whether it's a block or find stillness though. Relax in the upper body. And then we're going to incorporate a little more into our this twist into our left side. So you're expanding the space between the top armpit and the top hip by rolling that top hip down toward the foot. Expand that stretch on the side body, creating more space in between each and every rib. And also this should intensify in the left side of the body. I just remembered that we forgot our hamstring stretch. So after this, we're going into that. Gotta be even on both sides, right? Long, slow, deep breaths. Plus, it's good for our brains to change things up. Keep that in mind. Try not to take the same route home every day. I have a buddy that had a brain injury and she always took a different route home. So when this brain injury sort of damaged 20% of her brain was way more malleable to be able to recreate the neurotransmitters needed for her everyday function. Kind of a cool thing, right? Change it up, man. All right, on your next inhale, bring that foot back up through center. We're going to set up for that hamstring stretch. So again, it's like you're stomping on the ceiling with your foot, with your left foot. Your right foot is firmly rooted on the ground. Iron the sacrum down to the earth by tilting the tailbone down to the earth and then gently pulling with a bent knee that left foot toward your face. And again, with your sacrum planted like that, it's going to be a way more subtle movement, way more subtle. That's what I'm totally going to say from now on when I screw up right and left sides, that it's good for our brains to do it a different way. Relax your face, relax in the upper body, just allow the shoulders to come toward the earth. Keep those opposing motions in mind, right? Ironing out the sacrum to the earth as you gently tug the left foot toward the face. Relaxing the right leg. And breathe. Long, slow, deep breaths. Maybe the reason I forgot this side is because this side is way more intense this morning, which means I need it more than I needed the other side, right? Here for 3 more breaths. So see if you can totally relax in the upper body. Iron out the sacrum. And then release the strap. Bring both feet down to the earth. Feet come wide on the mat, knees come together, and let's windshield wiper from side to side so slowly, more slowly than you think you need to go. Nice. Nice. So now we're a little more in our hips this morning. Let me make sure I have this going. And cool. So let's find a block or something like that to sit on. Actually, a block or your folded up towel. We're gonna come into fire log this morning since we just opened our hips up like that. So go ahead and place your right shin so that it's parallel with the front of your mat and your foot is flexed. Okay, then we're gonna take our left shin and place it right on top of that. Mine are actually pretty even this morning, but if you have a lot of room like it, just go ahead and place a block like underneath in between your shins. There's no shame in that. And also mine is subtly needs some like support. So I'll just roll up my blanket or my towel. So get tall, both feet are flexed. When you look down, each shin is stacked on top of each other. So there should be like a triangle when you look down. Grow tall out of your hip sockets and then place your hands a little bit behind your hips. So just tap your fingertips behind your hips. This could be enough of a stretch, but if it feels good to you, with a tall spine, begin to bend forward. So I shouldn't say bend forward. We're creating like a fulcrum. We're tilting out of our hip sockets with our spine, like you're looking over the edge of a cliff. Take the wrinkles out of the back side of your neck and breathe. We're here for 3 more breaths. Really getting into the hips this morning. And then come back up through center. Bring both hands overhead, and then we're going to twist over to the left. So normally our legs are in a little bit different shape, but because we're a little looser in our hips this morning, let's take advantage of that and come into that twist, looking over the left side of the body. The collarbones stay wide, and breathe. Every inhale, grow tall. Every exhale, see if you can use that right hand on the left knee to create a little more twist. We're getting into it this morning. Inhale, bring the hands back up overhead into Tadasana, and exhale, let the hands go down to the earth. Let's do that on the opposite side. So this time, the left leg, the left shin is parallel with the top of our mat. The right shin is going to come stacking on top of that. If there's a lot of room in between, and on this side, I have a lot more room in between, you can place a block or a towel underneath that lifted knee. You just want it to feel supported, both feet are flexed. Grow tall, bring your fingertips behind you so that this is more so that you could just keep open in the chest. We have a tendency to round when we move forward in this shape, and it's way easier to keep a long spine if we're sort of encouraging our collarbones to open. Inhale, grow tall. If it's enough stretch for you, stay right here. Exhale, if you need the intensity, to begin to move the belly button toward the shins. So again, it's like a fulcrum. If you want to remember not to round through the back, tilt your tailbone energetically up toward the sky. And breathe. Send breath to where you feel sensation. Take the wrinkles out of the back of the neck. We're here for 3 more breaths. Relax in the face and the neck and the jaw. Let the tongue just rest at the bottom of the mouth. And then we'll inhale, come up through center. Hands come up overhead into Tadasana. Exhale, twist right. So using that left hand on top of the right knee and encouraging your collarbones to stay open. We have this tendency to let the left one sort of cave. Keep the collarbones open and wide. The right hand is tented back behind your sacrum. We're twisting over to the right. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, see if you can twist, even if it's another micromillimeter, into the shape. 2 more breaths, just like that. Inhaling, grow tall. Exhaling, coming into that shape. And last time, inhale, grow tall, collarbones are wide. Exhale, twist that entire spine over to the right. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead. And exhale, drop them down to the ground. Move all your props out of the way. We're going to come into a tabletop position just for a moment. And so your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, your knees are directly underneath your hips. Come, bring your hands, 1 handprint in front of where they are right now. Curl the toes under, tilt the tailbone up toward the sky. And then lift the knees just like about 2 inches. Keep the tailbone tilted up toward the sky as you begin to straighten your legs, straighten your arms, coming into your first down dog of the day, presumably. Begin to pedal out your dog. Just moving each heel down to the earth, alternating them from side to side. And then gazing between the hands, hop, step, or jump to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, take the wrinkles out of the back of the neck. Exhale and fold. Bend the knees, reverse the swan dive Tadasana. And exhale, spill forward, coming down you go, forward fold. We'll move through some vinyasas. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, high plank. Come forward on your tippy toes, and to the count of 4, come all the way down to the belly. Keep your elbows in tight toward the side, bring the tops of the feet toward the earth. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra. Bhujangasana, exhale. Plant the hands, come up through plank, press the hips high, downward facing dog. Again, pedal out your dog. Gaze between the hands, hop, step, or jump to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Tilt the tailbone up toward the sky. Exhale and fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive Tadasana. Exhale, spill forward, down you go, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, high plank. Come forward on the tippy toes and come all the way down to the earth, onto the belly. Tent the fingers underneath the shoulders, coming up into your baby cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, face comes down to the earth. Press through the hands, coming into your plank, lift the hips high, downward facing dog. Pedal out the dog. Gaze between the hands, hop, step, or jump to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. 2 more times, we're going to run through that. Inhale, reverse the swan dive. Exhale, spill forward, down you go, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Come forward on your tippy toes. This time, see if you can just hover over the earth And then move into your upward facing dog. The thighs are off the earth. Then roll the toes under, lift the hips high, downward facing dog. And breathe. Again, hop, step, or jump to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, Tadasana. Exhale, spill forward, down you go, forward fold. If you can't keep your eyes closed in this last round, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, high plank to low plank. Moving forward, upward facing dog. Widen the collarbones. Feel the stretch in the belly. Then curl the toes under, downward facing dog. And breathe. And then drop your knees down to the earth. Knees come wide, sit the heels back, and come into your child's pose. So in your child's pose, reach the hands toward the top of your mat, but plug your shoulder blades into your sockets. Feel the breath that you've created in your vinyasas, and rock the head from side to side. And then gently begin to press yourself up into a kneeling position. We're going to come into a shape that we don't do very often on video, mostly because it's one that we really need to watch you guys do. But you guys are both seasoned yogis, so if somebody's watching this later, I want you to follow my cues very expressly. So place your hands, we're coming into camel pose. So place your hands like you're placing them in your back pockets. So keep the shoulders wide, the collarbones wide. One of the things that people have a tendency to do in this shape, and I have a block nearby because I might use that, keep the collarbones wide. So the tendency that people have to do, and I'm not going to show you completely, but is come back and crunch their low back. That's not what we're doing here. We're coming like we're lifting out